Hey, Bassfax here. Finishing up the Cyclops G2 review and the TP9 review, but figured I'd hit you up with another video before we get to that point. These are both at good round count thresholds, but they're kind of unique options, right? Prism and a overpriced Swiss PDW. So I feel like I need a little more time with them before I can really form a good opinion. We'll go have this side talk today. This talk keeps popping up on Discord, so it's just a discussion. Don't view it as gospel. Just kind of me being a basic bitch gun tuber and talking about gun stuff. Real quick, if you looked at the title, I'm going to use the term AR as a catch-all phrase to describe things like AR-15s, ACRs, Tavor, AKs. Yeah, I know. Assault rifles technically need to be fully auto, and AR and AR-15 stands for Armor Light Rifle. But let's be real, considering your grandma, liberal mom, your boss, everyone knows what I mean when I say AR. The term works, and honestly, at this point, the cat's out of the bag. We're buying these things to defend ourselves, shoot people in the face when the day comes in the most efficient manner possible. So let's just commit to the term. Good? Okay, we're good. We're probably not good. You're probably writing a comment right now. Okay, anyway, on to the video. There's a consensus among the gun folk that why would I use a PDW PCC when I could just use an AR or a rifle? Yeah, well, technically true. Like everything on the internet, it sort of lacks nuance. And a lot of people take that phrase, which is correct, and apply it wholesale. So they assume PCCs and PDWs have no niche, especially if you get rid of their full auto functionality. I'm going to try to propose one of several critical scenarios where not only a PDW has a niche, but it is actually the dominant choice, in my opinion. Let's get started. So, my use case is that the PDW, or the PCC, is the dominant choice, or the main choice in a vehicle egress at the beginning of a disaster. WROL, shit hit the fan, natural disaster, whatever scenario. Right? You know, you've all read the books, you can make your own pick. Let's set the stage. Let's say an event occurs that disrupts society enough system starts to break down. Doesn't have to be world ending, could be world ending though. It's bad enough that you're going to get utter gridlock and vehicle mobility is going to go down the drain. Shit, considering we get gridlock when someone pumps their brake after tailgating too hard, gridlock is a fairly good assumption. So, you're away from home, 50, 100 miles, maybe more. And you're likely in a city. Note, I'm kind of assuming this is more city oriented. But since most of you are within 100 miles of a major metro area, or just live in a city, a lot of this still applies. If your car is disabled or the road system is inoperable, you've made the call now that foot travel is your only option to get home, and you're not waiting for roadside assistance. For non-end-of-the-world scenarios, you should already have a pack in your car with first aid, water, food, water, extra socks, supplies, water. These are obviously a priority, because those things will take you out of the fight well before somebody shoots you in the face. But we are red-blooded Americans and we like our guns. No, we love our guns. So we have to shove a firearm into every single contingency, hence this video. As an aside, if your funds are tight or whatever, just shove an extra mag of whatever you're concealed carrying. This is likely the most realistic scenario anyway, so you don't need to actually have a gun that you're going to bring into your car. Okay. But we're committed to plus-oneing ourselves and having an entirely different weapon in the car, so let's get to it. Most people I know have a rifle in the car, with the logic being that it is the most effective weapon, therefore they should get it. And considering most ARs were really cheap a couple of years ago, getting a well-equipped rifle into a car could be done for easily under $1,000, with the optic and sling, light, all that. Throw in a couple mags maybe, micro rig, maybe even armor, and you're good to go! Or are you? Sure, but let's actually see how this plays out. Let's just say society gets hit hard enough that systems start to break down, be it natural disaster, food, shit, we can go all the way and say EMP, fuck, Twitter's down hard, boys, what do we do? Even in the worst case scenario, society, or more specifically the people within society, are going to try to cling to normalcy and expect normalcy to return soonish. We're going to see some level of normalcy for at least 24, probably 48, or maybe even 72 hours, and then the food starts running out and reality really begins to set in and the effects begin to manifest. However, before this, things are going to be relatively calm. This is your main time window to make it home. Obviously, things are going to be breaking down rapidly, so we're carrying extra weapons on us. However, option 1, you carry your survival gear in your bag, and you have the rifle up front and center. This is the lightest setup, and you are now the most capable you probably can be in a scenario like this. The issue is, you stick out like a motherfucker. Even if you're in a fairly forward-thinking area, pro-gun-wise, as the situation begins to rapidly degrade, you will shoot up the threat index for everyone you pass, and probably a bunch of people you didn't even realize you passed. Also, criminals will be looking to capitalize, and seeing a tired as fuck dude that's been walking for 10 hours straight will see this as an easy way to upgrade from their piece of shit, gangster blaster to your decked AR with night vision equipment and all that crap on it. And as the situation begins to degrade and violence begins to skyrocket, the whole reason you're bringing a weapon after all, you'll find that cops or even National Guard might be deployed and have explicit orders to bring in anyone that is viewed as a troublemaker. Right? We've already seen this exactly play out. And you are now at the top of that list with your decked out AR skylining in public. Right? You're going to be in a weird situation. In my opinion, this has equally, if not more, of a chance of ruining your get home plan, skylining yourself with an AR, than having a rifle helping you out in a gunfight, if that makes sense. You can take this a different route, though, and a lot of you are probably screaming about this part. Yes, I know. So you can actually stash your AR in a bag, and there are a lot of dedicated bags like this, like the Grey Go Apparition, or you just break your AR and put it into some, like 48-hour pack or something like that, right? Or law photos exist for this reason. This works, right? Yeah, yes and no. I did this setup for a long time, but the reality is this. The AR, even when completely collapsed, takes up a lot of cube space, and it takes up a lot of weight. Most AR setups are around 10 pounds, and then you add in mags and support systems, and you're looking upwards of 15 pounds. That is not insignificant weight when you're carrying other sustainment supplies. And your deployment time is also kind of shitty, so it's already taking your niche scenario and making it even more niche. So remember, you have a critical requirement of bringing food, water, and other supplies, like molly bandages for your blisters, because you probably haven't walked 100 miles in recent history. So you're either sacrificing some of that, or you're upgrading to a larger bag. So like a 50-pound or 50-liter bag, which is essentially rucksack territory. So not only are you going to be sticking out because you're running around with a camping bag, but you're going to be slowed down drastically. There is a huge difference, even with a moderately fit person, between a light 20-liter, 15 to 20-pound bag versus a person pushing 30 pounds with a rucksack-style situation. Your speed will be drastically hit, and that's your most important asset, moving before things get really bad. All right, that gets us onto the thesis. This guy, a PDW. What exactly is a PDW? It's basically a small caliber or reduced caliber, reduced barrel system that is under 15 inches overall length. Think Sig Rattler, MPX, of the Flux Raider, this TP9, whatever, you get the idea. These small compact packages, they're typically in 9mm. Some of them are in 300 blackout, but most are in 9mm. Right, basically they used to be submachine guns in another life before the ATF ruined our fun. Honestly, even medium-sized PCCs, like something like a braced Scorpion, is still honestly too big. We want to be below that sub-15-inch overall package, potentially even smaller. For the record, this guy right here is about 11 inches overall length. I think it hits 10 if I remove this flashlight. And then obviously on the extreme end of the spectrum, PCCs in 16 inches, dumb as shit. Don't do it. They're basically just training aids. Okay, so you'll notice some common themes with these types of weapons, these PDWs if we want to call it that. Folding stock, absolutely mandatory. Overall length has to be below 15, maybe even 12 inches. So AR-15s, AKs, simply way out of the overall length requirements, so don't even regard those. But this setup affords us a couple of things. Number one, once you get about to the 12-inch mark, give or take, depending on your body size, you can realistically begin to conceal something like this under your armpit, Secret Service style. Meaning if the weather allows it and you can wear a jacket over it, you can realistically conceal a stocked or braced, don't shoot my dog ATF, weapon under your armpit. And that is a very big deal, right? Because now you have this and you're not skylining yourself. Furthermore, if you decide the threat index is, not as high as you initially thought, you can pack away the weapon into your bag. Because this thing is so small and so light, it's 4 pounds, maybe add an extra pound for the ammunition, you can put this in your bag. And this whole overall size is roughly the size of an AR-15 receiver group. So upper, lower, no barrel, no buffer tube. That is really small. You can basically shove this in on the top of even a stuffed backpack. So you can get a stocked or braced weapon on your person without painting and skylining yourself as someone that is armed. Now the counter argument here, and it's realistic, is that if you put a 25-yard maximum engagement range, which is realistic, a pistol will generally cover all of this. And I'll say you could probably punch out to 50, 75 yards realistically if you know what you're doing with a handgun. So what's the point of training, building up, paying for something that is this expensive? But I'll offer the counterpoint. You're going to be exhausted, probably starving, stressed, confused, naked and afraid. You're going to be in a bad state. And suddenly when you take really good pistol shooters and put them into the scenario, their gunfights look a lot more like Mexican shootouts, where everyone empties their entire magazine, shit's exploding everywhere, everyone runs away, and then the after-action report is, hey, no one got hit, also this was at 5 yards. And most of you actually probably suck at pistol. So suddenly a stocked weapon, or a braced weapon, suddenly makes a lot more sense, letting you maintain some of your ability that you would probably lose with a pistol. Right? Pistol shooting is hard. Alright, that's about it in my hyper-specific niche scenario where the PDW makes sense. Was this a logical scenario? Yeah, I think so. Or you could argue that I'm just trying to excuse my reasoning for why I spent $2,000 on this Swiss submachine gun without a fun switch. I don't know. It was just a cool talk to kind of think about how weapons get used and how common held assumptions, in my opinion, like having an AR in the car, doesn't always make sense. Yes, there's absolutely scenarios where an AR in the car makes sense, such as if you live in the countryside, you need a ranch gun, active shooter maybe. I don't really buy into that nearly as much, but there are options where an AR makes sense. I'm just proposing a specific scenario where a PDW makes more sense. Regardless, thanks for watching. This is one of those talks where, if you'd like, comment down below. Let me know what you think about this. I'd like to kind of hear what other people's ideas are in a scenario such as this. Also, let me know if you like these style of, we'll say, POU-oriented videos, right? Theory, stuff like that. Let me know if you like that kind of video. Otherwise, maybe I'll just go back to making reviews. Who knows? Anyway, thanks for watching, guys. We'll see you guys around.